Yo, YouTube, what is going on? It is your boy Big Play Slay here, coming back with another video. And in today's video, we'll be doing our second mock draft of the year, mock draft 2.0. A lot of different faces, a lot of players that will definitely fit Nick's scheme, and a lot of players that are just straight up dogs. So let's just jump right into it. The 15th overall pick, I think the Philadelphia Eagles select Jermaine Johnson out of the University of Florida State. Now, I think the Philadelphia Eagles select him because not only does he have impressively long arms, he could just use his arms to get the quarterback, a little nervous. Let's say there's a situation in the NFL where a quarterback that can scramble, like a Lamar Jackson, gets out of harm's way. All Jermaine Johnson has to do is use his ridiculously long arms to get the ball swatted down to the ground. So that's one thing that he has. And he's just a smooth, silky pass rusher. And what I mean by that is he could just use his explosion off of the line to get out of trouble, or in situations where he could just move the offensive lineman out of the way. Like, he could just use his speed. He don't even gotta do too much. Just use your speed and you can get to the quarterback. My only problem with him is he's just too inconsistent with his bull rushing skills. That's my only problem with Jermaine Johnson. Now, if he can work on that this offseason, I think he can be a really good player in the NFL. I don't really think he has too much to work on. I think it's a couple things that he might need to work on. That's probably the only thing that really I've seen on film that he might need to work on. But just me personally, I like him over David Ojabo. But let's get to the second overall pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, which will be number 16. With the 16th overall pick, I think the Philadelphia Eagles select linebacker out of Georgia, Nakobee Dean. Nakobee Dean, first of all, he has amazing motor. He has a very high motor. He's a very energetic player. He's physical for a guy his size. He's a good run defender, good tackler in space, in the middle of the field. He could stop any running back when you get to the second level. He's an elite blitzer, a really good blitzer. Whenever he has to go up against running backs in coverage and man coverage, he's really good in that area as well. My only problems with him is, probably his height and weight. That's the only reason. I think that definitely, puts him down a little bit. I don't think that's going to matter. He could play ball. If he could play ball, he could play ball. That's my thing. If you could play football, you could play football. The only other issue I have for him is his height and weight will actually matter when he has to go up against bigger, more like stronger power backs in the NFL. Like a Jordan Howard maybe, for us, or like a Derrick Henry. Dudes like that are just gonna truck him out of the way. So that probably might, affect his skyrocketing rankings, I guess, in the standings right now in the NFL Draft Combine. But I think he'll be a really good player in this league. So I have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting him here at 16. Let's go to number 19 now. With the 19th overall selection for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think they select Daxton Hill out of the University of Michigan. He is a safety, very versatile player, good tackler, good in situations where he has to be in zone. He's good at reading the quarterback's eyes. And first of all, he's a risk taker. That's what I think of him as. He's a very good risk taker. He stands at 6 feet, 192. His length isn't the best. That's not really that much of an issue. As I've said in the past, if you could play football, then you could play football. And this kid could play football. Um, I think he's just too much of a risk taker, though. That could be a good and a bad thing. In this league, you have to be patient in certain situations. Obviously, Daxton Hill is a high motor type of player. He has a lot of energy, but sometimes he has to be a little more calmer in some situations where, let's say, his change of directions are an issue at times. He has to, kind of like slow himself down, be a little more patient. When maybe a quarterback gets him here and there in certain situations, even though he can read the quarterback very well, he has to just be a little too much of a non-gambler. Take risks here and there, but not too many risks. But I think the Eagles select him here. First of all, it fills a need in a hole, a glaring hole, and it will be a perfect pick for the Eagles. Daxton Hill, I would love to pick. So let's go to pick 51 in the second round. With the 51st overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select defensive back out of the University of Georgia, Derion Kendrick. First of all, he's 5'11", 202. He was a transfer from Clemson to Georgia. If you've seen the Clemson film to the Georgia film, you would be very surprised. Just based off of the Georgia film and the Clemson film, based off of what I've seen from both films, he's a really good tackler. Off the rip, he always wants to get to the ball, and he just wants to be around the ball. What I've seen from Clemson, though, and still what I've seen from Georgia, when he was in a situation where he had vertical speed on him, when a receiver that had really good vertical speed beat him down the field, he just couldn't catch up. Like Chris Olave at Ohio State, whenever they faced Justin Fields to a long ball, and Derion Kendrick just couldn't, stop it. So I think one of the reasons he transferred to Georgia was to get him better in that area. So that's one issue with him that he needs to work on, but he's just a patient defender, smooth hips, and he can really get to the ball. So I think he can work well in this league, but certain situations he can panic. But I think Jonathan Gannon can get him better, because let's not forget, Jonathan Gannon is the defensive backs guru, cornerback guru. So if he is in our system, I think he can be at a high, like all-time high in terms of his or his ceiling. Let's get to the next pick. Alright, next pick 183. The Philadelphia Eagles select first offensive player off the board, John Metchie, wide receiver out of the University of Alabama. First of all, he is 6 foot 195. He has really good speed. He has good footwork off the line. He fits a zone system. He has good hands. He's very fluid. He's very effortless. He won't go down. He has really strong hands. He can pinpoint the deep ball whenever he has to. As I said, he's very quick, but he's also elusive. He's not willing to go down. The coaching at Alabama prioritizes not being soft. And they teach those players how to sustain contact when contact hits you. And these boys, like Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Mari Cooper, some of the very best that have come out of the University of Alabama, just know how to play in this league. My only problem with Metchie is he has a slight frame, and he may get pushed around a lot in the NFL in terms of press coverage corners, but I think he can sustain that as Devontae Smith and guys like Quez Watkins are. But yeah, that is my pick 183, pick 83 pick. Our first offensive player off the board, receiver. let's go to the next pick. The 123rd selection in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select interior guard out of the University of Ohio State, Thayer Mumford. Thayer Mumford, I think, would be the selection here, just to fill out the void in the depth of the interior guard position. He stands at 6'6", 320, good size, length. He's played several positions on the offensive line, left tackle, left guard, and right tackle. So he's played 3 positions on the line. My only problem with him is his hands tend to get wide in pass protection with a habit of catching rather than striking rushers. So that means fast rushers, and he allows easy access into his frame in a tardy anchor. So I think he's just a late anchor. His contact balance is very inconsistent, and he has below average foot quickness. So that's a couple things he can work on, and that's something I've seen on film. His foot quickness is something I've seen on film that he has to work on, because whenever he has to face quicker and more stronger bull rushers interior, he can lose a lot of situations in those one-on-one matchups. So that's something he has to work on. But I think Thayer Mumford would be the selection here, and losing Brandon Brooks is a very big loss to this, and is a very big key on why I selected him. So yeah, next pick. With the next pick 154, the Philadelphia Eagles select running back out of Alabama, Brian Robinson Jr. He is 6'1", 226. As I said, 6'1". First of all, just off the tape, off the rip, dude is a big running back. He has really good build for his position, and just where he's supposed to play at the running back position. He's 6'1", as I said. Dude can literally run you over. He can literally run 3 people over at the same time. If you watch that Cincinnati game, he was literally getting yards after yards after yards after yards. I could keep on going, but Brian Robinson Jr. in that Cincinnati game, I'll put it long story short, he literally ate their defense up. There was no answer for him. He's such a tough runner. His balance, it's really good. My only problem with him is he's an only average athlete. He's an average athlete, in my opinion. So he could work in that area, and he's an inconsistent vision type of running back. So that's another thing he could work on. But Brian Robinson Jr. in this league, I think he can thrive. And you know what I said, the vision thing, I think he could definitely work on that. So yeah, pick here, and Jordan Howard. I don't know what we're gonna do with him in the offseason, so just a replacement right here with this pick, and he's a lot younger too. So Brian Robinson Jr., pick 154. Alright, with the next pick 162, I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking their second linebacker of this draft, Troy Anderson out of the University of Montana State. He stands at 6'3", 242. As I said, he goes to the University of Montana State. He has good size for a linebacker. He's got good speed, quickness. He's really good in the middle of the field. He's literally the key to the defense. He shows a quick burst to close out against any running back or tight end in the middle of the field. He reads the quarterback's anticipation, and he's just quick to run the read whenever the read is there, or any run, and he has really good agility and speed to get past blockers, finished experience, and coverage, and he gets a strong jam on outside receivers. He's excellent in coverage, has some really good experience at the safety position. And when you see the film, you can really see it. His coverage skills are amazing, I think. My only problem with him is he played in, I wouldn't say like a terrible division, but not the best division, the FCS. I mean, his height leaves him to be susceptible to cut blocks. That's another thing too. From my film tape that I watched on him. But I think this will be a good pick. We got a linebacker that can play really good, tremendous ball earlier. Now let's get a coverage linebacker at pick 162. Alright, let's get to the next pick. Next pick, 166, the Philadelphia Eagles select defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman, out of the University of Virginia Tech. Jordan Williams stands at 6'1", 290, so he's around that 300 range. I would say he has really good balance. That's one advantage already for him in terms of his strengths. He uses his leverage to his strengths and his advantage. He's really bulky. He's a hustle defender, so he has really good bull rush skills. He's a big-bodied rusher with very good upper body strength. He's stout at the point of attack. He has really good measurables. Measurables don't mean a lot because a lot of players have measurables and intangibles and don't pan out in the NFL. But since we need some interior defensive linemen, especially depth, because we're going to lose Ridgeway this year, Hassan Ridgeway in the offseason, this is a good pick. My only weaknesses with Jordan Williams is he plays too high at times, and he gets carried down the field or put to the ground by better linemen when losing a lot of leverage battles. He sees the ball well, but is stuck on blocks when his head is up or when his guard is up. So that's one thing with Jordan Williams. But I think this would fill out a void in terms of depth at the interior defensive line position, and we also don't know what we're going to do with Fletcher Cox still. I don't think we're going to trade him this offseason. He's probably going to be here for another year. But interior defensive line depth, this is, I think, going to be a good pick. But yeah, let's go to the last and final pick, pick 205. The Philadelphia Eagles select tight end out of the University of Indiana, Peyton Hendershot. Stands at 6'4", 254. He has above average good hands, consistently makes good catches in traffic. He's willing to fully extend and stay in bounds and snatch it out of defenders' hands. Has enough speed to challenge the seam. He doesn't have elite speed. I would say his weaknesses are he has high cut frame and limited power in his hands to prevent him from having a really good blocking grade like some of the other tight ends in this class. I don't think he's a top 10 tight end in this class. I think he has ways and landslides to go from being up there with guys like Trey McBride and Jalen Widemeyer. But the Eagles need backup tight end depth. This tight end class is honestly loaded with the guys I already mentioned: Trey McBride, Jalen Widemeyer, Jeremy Ruckert, Cade Otton, Isaiah Likely. That's some of the very best names, but we just need backup tight end depth. Jack Stoll is one of the guys that we have, but we need more there too. So that is the 2022 2.0 mock draft for the Eagles. 7-round mock draft. What did you guys think of it this time? What do you guys think I need to improve on? And what did you guys like about this, and what didn't you like about this? But I'm going to end this video off right here. You guys have a great day. Hopefully you guys stay safe and blessed, and your boy is out of here. Peace.